Welcome. My name is Pam, and you've just joined me on my Facebook Live. It is Monday, December 9th, and today we are talking about Q&A. This is Q&A day. You can ask me anything you want to about behavior management for neurotypical children aged 2 to 12. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm happy you're here with me. If you're a first time listener and joining in, welcome. We're here every Monday, 12:15. Oh, which reminds me, on December 23rd, there will not be a Facebook Live because it's close to the holidays and I will be busy. So we will not be here on December 15th. Now, if you're just joining in, please go to the comments section here, say hello, tell me where you're from, and if you have questions, pop them in there. Okay, because I'm going to go down the list and try to answer as many as I possibly can during the session. What I can't get to, we will get to afterwards. These go up on my Facebook page immediately, but also on my website under PamelaPalanza.com. Then look for Facebook Lives, and I can answer questions there. I'll just answer them and post it. Okay, so now if you have a neurodivergent child, because I do get a lot of questions about neurodivergence, I am not comfortable answering a lot of those questions. It has been many years since I have worked with children with differing abilities. So a couple options for you. One, you can go to my Facebook page, Facebook group, right up at the top. Just click there. You join our group. Hey, Linda. Girl, you are always on here. I love it. Okay, so go to the Facebook group. And there's 4 questions you have to answer, but you have to answer all 4 questions. And then when I get your request, I will review it and approve it. Put your question in there. We have a lot of parents in there who have children with neurodivergence. So what's cool about this group is people can answer questions, not just me, but other people can also, who have the experience. I also have a sister who has a 22-year-old who has, he's nonverbal, he has autism, Down syndrome. She has years of experience that she has been dealing with this. And she also has a podcast called Embrace the Blessing, where she interviews parents of children with differing abilities, and sometimes the adults themselves. So you can find that on all the on all the podcast platforms. And she is going to start joining me every other Saturday. Now, you know, my podcast, Common Sense Parenting with Pam, comes out every Tuesday morning. But we're going to do every other Saturday called Saturdays with Sandy, because that's her name. And we are going to talk about neurodivergence and some strategies and techniques and experiences that you all might be able to relate to. So I'm really excited about that. Before we dive deep into all of this, I just want to say I'm really excited about the secret project I'm working on. I'm not going to tell you a whole lot about it. It's rolling out mid-January. I do get a lot of requests from parents for more content, deeper, give us more details. You know, I have 60 seconds on a reel, and I do a podcast for 15 or 20 minutes. It's not always a lot of time to dig deep. Even on the Facebook Lives, they're 30 minutes. I don't always have enough time to really dig in. And people say, but we want specifics. Tell us exactly how to do this. That's what this project is going to involve. So it's all about behavior management, obviously common sense, for parents of children ages 2 to 12. And I'm not going to tell you anymore, but just be on the lookout for announcements and little hints and tips, okay? All right, so let me jump in. What I'm going to do before questions come in, I want to respond to, I know what I wanted to ask you. And Linda, you're the only one on here right now. You might be able to answer this question for me. To other parents, hop in. So I come on here and I do Q&A days, right? And I answer questions. But I'm thinking about if I can figure out how to do this, because I'm not really technologically real savvy. I mean, I know enough to be dangerous. But that when someone's in the comment section and is willing to come on live with me, that I would pull you up into the live and you would actually ask your question live. You and I would have a conversation. So if it's something you think you'd be interested in, put yes in the comments. Not that I'm going to do it today, don't panic, but it's something that I'm considering doing down the road. Again, I have to figure out all the technology behind it. All right, what I want to do is take this opportunity too to answer some questions people had about reels I posted or comments they had, and give you some clarification maybe or my feedback on them, until people start popping in with questions. Okay. I did a reel the other day about I had my grandson. He'll be 3 next week, actually, on the 15th. And I did, let me see, someone popped in here, I think. I did a reel for him. I did a reel about him. It was time to leave. And I had given him the warnings. You know, I always do like the 5-minute warning, the 1-minute warning. And I said, it's time to leave. And he's just, I don't want to leave. I didn't get frustrated. And I just said, you have 2 choices, either lunch or store. Which one do you want to do first? Because we had to do both. And I didn't care which one we did first. He picked lunch and off we went. Totally simple. He didn't fuss anymore because he had some choices there and he picked what he wanted. It worked so beautifully. So when you have an opportunity to give choices, use that. You know, and this is a whole other training I did for childcare providers for years. Children have very little control over their lives, young children especially, very little power, right? They're told what to do, when to do it. Here's what we're going to eat. Here's what you have to do now. Go get dressed. It's bedtime. When you can give those choices that are appropriate and reasonable, use those. It's a tool. It's just a tool, a parenting tool that you can use to your advantage. And I do. Trust me, I do. Okay. And then, hi, Natalie. We've got some more people coming. Hi, Natalie. A small town in South Africa. Well, welcome. And Sarah from Tennessee. Hey, Sarah, I used to live in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Okay, in fact, one of my daughters was born there. My oldest daughter was born there. Okay. The other day I had him, the same day that I had him there, I said, we need to go wash your hands. And he does not like to wash his hands. I'm not sure why. So this is the only one of my grandchildren that has ever done this, and my own children never did this. But he drops to the floor. So if you tell him, hey, come on, it's time to go, or come on, we need to do this, he'll just drop to the floor. He won't say anything, just drops to the floor and looks at you, right? So now I don't play into that. So I just said, we need to go wash your hands. You can either get up on your own or I'm going to pick you up. And I just waited a couple seconds and I picked him up, took him to wash hands. And someone commented and said, well, he won. And I'm like, no, he didn't win. It wasn't whether he got up or I picked him up. The goal was wash your hands. And that's what we did. So I do not play into that. I don't start getting frustrated and get up. What are you doing? Come on. I just picked him up. We went and washed hands and we were done. Then he went back and played. It was very simple, very calm, no hassles, done. Now, if I'm home with him, let's just say I'm at his house and I'm saying, okay, come on, we need to go. And he plops himself on the ground. I just walk out the door. I'm like, all right, see ya. And he'll come running, right? But I'm not going to do that necessarily in public, because if I had said, okay, I'm walking away, he'd have been fine and gone and played. I wanted him to go wash his hands. So I had to make sure I followed through on what I told him I was going to do. Now, I had a couple people say, well, I have a physical disability, or I'm not strong enough, or the child's too big. What do I do? So here's a couple suggestions. And if any of you have suggestions, pop them in here. Let me say hi to a couple more coming in. Hey, Melanie. I'm actually from Pittsburgh originally. Hello, girl. And then Beth from the Great Lakes state of Michigan. Well, welcome. I'm glad you guys are in here with me. If you have any questions about parenting, pop them in here. Okay. So you can give them a choice. Say you want your child to go sit on the couch, and they're like, no. And you can say, well, do you want to go over to the couch like a robot or a dinosaur? Okay, so do you see what you did there? They're going to the couch. That's the goal. How do you want to get there? Do you want to walk like a robot or a dinosaur? And then it's fun for them and it's engaging. And usually they'll just comply with it, because it wasn't a power struggle. You distracted them. You made it fun. Okay. The other thing you can do is, say they plop down on the ground and they're too heavy or you can't pick them up. You can say, how do you want to stand up? Do you want me to hold your hand, or are you going to push yourself up on your own? So you're giving them choices, but direction. You're standing up. How would you like to do it? It's like the trick you use at bedtime. And I think I did this on the reel last week, maybe. I don't remember. On the Facebook Live last week. It's time for your children to go to bed. You can set a timer. When the timer dings, time for bed, because the timer told them it was time for bed, not you, right? So timers are a really valuable tool in your parenting toolkit. But you can also do this 5 minutes before bedtime. You say, it's almost time for bed. Do you want to go now, or do you want to go in 5 minutes? Now they're going to bed. That was not the discussion. Are you going to bed or not? It was, you're going to bed. Do you want to do it now or in 5 minutes? Because you asked them 5 minutes ahead of time. So the goal is accomplished, but they think they have some, some autonomy there. So it works. Use it. Okay. Let me just see some other people coming in. Tiffany from Belize. Hi, girl. Okay. We'll talk about your question in a minute. Okay. Deborah, hello. Jackie, hi. Greenville, Tennessee. Skip and jump. Okay. Afterwards. And Carol from Saratoga Springs, Utah. Okay. Welcome. I love it. Okay. So timers are great tools. Giving them choices is a great tool. I'm actually working as part of this new project. I'm working on a whole thing that'll be like everything you need to have in your parenting toolkit and how it works. So, it's like you're building a house. Sometimes you need a hammer. Sometimes you need a screwdriver. Sometimes you need a saw, right? One tool does not fix everything or build everything. Same thing with your parenting toolkit. That's going to be part of the new project. That's just a hint. Okay. I've done a reel many times, and I did my very first podcast episode was on teaching your children problem solving. Stop trying to fix everything for your children. Teach them instead how to solve problems for themselves. So here's a great question you can teach your children to ask themselves. What can I do to find a solution? So say they come to you with a problem, and you can look at them and go, what can you do to find a solution? Ask yourself that question. So they have to self-reflect. You're putting it back on them. Now with younger children, yes, you're probably going to have to help guide them at first and give them some suggestions and kind of coach them through that. But as they get older and you're saying to them, when they come to you with a problem, say, well, ask yourself the question, what can I do to find a solution? And it makes them stop and think. That is such a valuable skill for them to have. Can you imagine when they're in school, they're in university, they're in the workplace, and they're faced with a problem? They don't get anxious, they don't panic, they go, oh, what can I do to find a solution? It's a very non-threatening question to ask, and it puts them in problem-solving mode. Okay? Next thing, if you have children, more than one, I'm sure you're familiar with tattling, right? Oh, I remember my children tattling on each other, and sometimes they take great pleasure in doing it. They're going to get their brother or sister in trouble. And when I worked in childcare, oh my goodness, I can't tell you how many times a day, I worked with 3 to 5-year-olds mostly. They'd come to me and tattle. Okay. And I actually had a teacher, an early childhood teacher, ask me this recently. How do you handle this? So here's how I handled it with my own children and with children I cared for. They would come to me and tattle, and I would say, you know what? Your job is to worry about you, and my job is to manage everybody else. And I would just send them on their way. I didn't engage in conversation. I didn't say, well, tell me more about what they did. I just said those things. And then I would go and handle the situation. Okay? But it taught the children very quickly, tattling isn't getting them anywhere. And then it cuts down on headaches you have because they're tattling all the time. Okay, now I don't know if some of you saw the reel I posted. So usually every weekend, 2 of my children and their children are over at the house. And sometimes can get really chaotic. Saturday, we were decorating the Christmas tree. Now what I do, as my children are getting older, grandchildren are getting older, I put the tree up. I let them decorate it however they want. There'll be ornaments hanging off the bottom. There'll be like some on one side and not the other, some up high, some bunched down low, depending on the age and the height of the grandchild decorating the tree. And I just let it be because that brings me great joy and they have fun. So this weekend, my almost 3-year-old grandson, his sister dropped a bulb and it broke. It was an old one and it was metal and it shattered. And so I said, everybody step back. We have to clean this up. They were all on their bare feet. I don't want anybody to get their feet cut. And so we kind of asked them to step back. But he's 3, and I don't think he was aware that the bulb had broken. The bulb had busted, and there was metal shards all over the ground. And he was trying to get to the tree. to put bulbs on. And his father came over to help me, and he kind of put his arm up and was holding him back so he didn't get cut. And my grandson threw a fit. So he threw himself on the floor and started to cry. Now, if you go back and watch that video, none of us paid one bit of attention to him. None. You watch the video. People were decorating the tree. People were over here on the couch talking. His father's sitting right beside him on the couch, and I'm looking at him. He threw his fit. He cried. We ignored him. When he kind of settled down, he stopped. I just distracted him. I said, oh, I think one of your little cars is over there under the couch. He crawled over and got it. Totally was fine, calmed down. And then his father explained to him, the reason we didn't want you going over there was we didn't want you to get hurt. His little mind, he was thinking we were just holding him back. He didn't understand why. Now, did any of us get on the floor when he was throwing a fit and have long-winded conversations with him about how he felt and how he should regulate himself? No. No. You know how I feel about that if you've listened to me for any length of time. No. He cried. He's allowed to cry. But when he calmed down, redirected him and explained it later. Very effective. Okay. Now let's get into see if we have any questions here. Okay, let me start up from the top again because we have about 15 minutes left. Okay. What are some techniques I can use to deal with impulsive behavior? She touches everything she sees, even items that don't belong to her. I need, are you talking just at home? She just does this at home? Is she doing this at school? Is she doing it at friends' houses? Like, kind of give me some ideas on there. I need to know a little bit more from there. It's going to be, verbally reinforcing to her. If it doesn't belong to you, you don't touch it without asking permission first. And you might have to just keep over and over and over telling her that. But I'm wondering about why she's impulsive. Is there any neurodivergence going on there? Is it attention seeking? She knows if she touches something, she's going to get a reaction out of you. I just need more information, Tiffany, if you have it there. Okay. Deborah. Oh, I love your advice. Thank you. Yep. Skip and jump. Thank you. Okay. I'm glad I caught you live. Yay, Shelly. I'm glad you did too. Bakersfield, California. Why have you mentioned it? If it's a secret, because it's a secret. You don't always tell secrets. You tell them I have a secret, but you don't always tell it. It's a secret. Okay. Linda. Okay, Linda, I'm laughing. Linda's question was, are obsessions normal for small children? My little 3-year-old obsessed with trash trucks. That is all he will talk about, trash trucks. First thing in the morning, trash truck. The reason I'm laughing is every Wednesday I get my 3-year-old grandson. He is obsessed with trash trucks, fire trucks, tanker trucks, ambulances, police cars. He can name every construction vehicle you ever see. So sometimes I have him usually for like 3 or 4 hours. I literally drive around town so he can find the trucks. So yes, it is normal. That happens a lot at that age. So he will see a truck and I'll say, what kind of truck is that? And he'll go, that's a tanker truck. That's a moving truck. That's a delivery truck. That's a trash truck. So he's fascinated. And mail trucks, he loves mail trucks. And fire trucks a lot, like I said. So sometimes I literally will drive around town to like 3 or 4 different fire stations so he can see them. And then I drive him to the main post office where there are about 30 mail trucks parked out back. And I just pull over for him to look in the parking lot. So he's happy about it. And it makes me happy. If he's happy, that's the little things in life. Okay, Sarah, I like this. My mom always said I need to come up with 5 solutions. They do not all have to be good solutions, but allow me to go through the bad decisions or panic decisions to get to a good one. Your mother's brilliant. That's brilliant. She was teaching you how to problem solve, teaching you that sometimes things don't always work. That's why there's a plan, A, B, C, and D, which is what I've said I've taught my children for years. Brilliant. I love it. Okay. Philomena, I hope I said that right, watching from Lusaka, Zambia. Hello. Tiffany, it's everywhere she goes. Okay, we'll get back to that in a minute. Melanie, I provide childcare for my grandchildren and have a question. How can I support my almost 3-year-old grandson to stop spitting, licking raspberries, etc.? He licks his parents, me, floors, etc. Huh. And he's neurotypical? He's neurotypical, Melanie. Question? How can I get him to stop spitting, licking raspberries, etc.? He licks his parents, me, the floors. Well, I'm just curious. How are people reacting when he does this? Is he getting, negative feedback from them? I'm assuming if he's licking the floor or his parents, people are saying something to him or he's licking you. And I'm curious what sensory he's getting from that, sensation he's getting from the licking. If anybody has any ideas on that, put it in there. Okay, on that one, and we can come back to that one too in a minute. How can I be more patient with my 4 kids? Bless you, first of all. I lose my cool sometimes. Well, let me just tell you, Philomena, you're a mom. You're human, and that happens. We all have done it. It's not easy parenting, especially when you have 4 children you're trying to deal with. And I don't know the ages here. That's why I think last week we talked about how to stop yelling at your children. And one of the things we talked about, and I'm not saying you yell, you didn't say you yell, but you're losing your cool. One of the things we talked about is making sure you take a breath, you walk away. I don't know if you saw that that video, the Facebook Live or not. You can go back and watch it. But you need to be taking care of yourself, number one, and then you need to be taking a break and walking away. And it's okay to do like what my daughter does. Like I mentioned this on the Facebook Live where she's like, guys, stop. I need 5 seconds. Stop. And then she'll breathe. And then she'll regroup. Okay. So there could be a lot of things going on in your life that are causing you to get frustrated. A lot of variables in play here. But just know it's normal. It's normal. Now, unless you're doing it all the time and you're screaming at your kids and losing it on them, then there would be some other things that need to be addressed. But you're just being a mom. It's not easy. That's why women have the children, I think, because I don't know that dads have as much patience all the time. And I'm not stereotyping there. I'm just saying, I think as moms, we just have this more nurturing capacity. And then we get frustrated because it's overwhelming. It's very overwhelming. Okay, what do I do when my son is 9 but constantly complains he can't do something? Especially multiple things. It's driving me nuts. Give me an example on that one for me, please. He complains he can't do something. All right. Because I just had a conversation with my son about his son, who sometimes automatically is like, I can't do it, because he thinks he should be perfect at it. The first time he's ever done anything, he puts this pressure on himself to excel or be perfect. We don't know where that's coming from, but that's creating a problem. So he's trying to address that with him. Okay, Linda, same. Okay, Linda, good. Okay, hello. And Linda, I got to tell you, I know someone else that has the same thing. Her son's obsessed with the trucks, and he's 3. So it's normal. Okay, oh, okay, pica. That could be, Judy, saying about licking everything, the pica. It could be. Sharon, love you and your strategies. Thank you. Okay, Philomena, 962 and 1. Girl. No wonder you're losing your cool sometimes. Wow. Okay. It's okay. It's okay to lose your cool. Just do what you can to take care of yourself as much as you can. And I just did a reel this morning. I don't know if you saw it. One of the things I did, I had 3 at the time, and I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning before my children got up. I gave myself that hour to ground myself. It was journaling, meditating, praying, reading the Bible, whatever it was that I needed to do, exercise. Sometimes I go out in the dark and walk, a mile around the block. I needed time to myself to ground myself, to center myself so that I was prepared for when they got up. Because, as soon as their feet hit the floor, it's mom, right? And everything needs done to get them out the door for school. And if you have 2 little ones, you get the older ones out and you still have to deal with the 2 little ones all day or get them to childcare, whatever it is. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle that. So I made sure that I was kind of in a right headspace before they got up. And I still, to this day, I do this, even though I have no children home to have to do it with, for my own peace of mind, because I do have a busy life. My little 3-year-old, if you get upset, he will tell you to breathe. Okay, maybe you can do a, I'm just riffing it here, thinking out loud. Maybe you can sit down with him and do some discussion about, will not do it unless he gets all the soap off his face from his hair. Okay, so does that mean he gets all the soap off his face from his hair and then does his legs? I don't know. I don't know. And so is he getting out of the shower with soap still on his legs? I guess is what my question is, if I'm reading that right. Or he doesn't wash his legs at all? And in that case, I would say you didn't wash your legs. You need to go back in the shower and try again. Okay, let me go back down here. Grant for Melanie. The pediatrician says your grandson is normal and suggests redirecting the behavior. Okay, all right, here. Okay, wait. I want to see what you're saying here. So you're saying you've been redirecting for a year and telling him no spitting, no licking. All right. But here's what I want to tell you on that. You're telling him what not to do, but you're not telling him what to do. Redirecting is redirecting his attention somewhere else. Okay? It's not saying no licking, no spitting, no whatever he's doing. You ignore that, and you try to direct him somewhere else. Because he's getting attention from you. Now, let me just tell you this. It sounds counterintuitive. He's licking, and then you or someone saying no licking. So he's getting your attention because he's licking, and then he's getting your attention because you're saying no licking. If you ignore that and you redirect him, and then you praise him when he's doing something he should. So look for those behaviors when he is behaving appropriately and start verbally praising him for those, you're going to see a decline in that negative behavior. And let me just tell you, anytime you're trying to extinguish a negative behavior, it's going to get worse, typically, before it gets better. But you just keep ignoring it. Don't respond. If he licks you, walk away. Don't make a face. Just walk away. Move away from him. If he licks the floor, just try to redirect him to do something else. Okay? And try that instead of telling him just not what to do. Because here's what I tell parents all the time. So your kid's running in the house, and you go, stop running in the house. And they stop running, but they start jumping. Because you haven't told them what you want them to do. You just said, don't do this, but instead tell them what you want them to do. Okay, see if that makes a difference. Okay, here's a response from Sharon to Melanie. My 3-year-old granddaughter licks and does the raspberries. The licking, I believe, has stopped because we've all said no licking and let it go. Raspberries, we've heard so often we give her a stern look and she stops. Okay, again, getting into the instead of telling what you don't want them to do. So Sharon, thank you for responding to that. That's working for you. That's great. But instead of saying no, licking, don't do this, tell them what you want them to do. Ignore the raspberries. Ignore the licking. Respond to what they're doing positively. Praise that. Okay, if that makes sense. All right, we have a couple minutes left. Let me go back up to the one because I feel there's one I didn't get to. And for those of you who just joined in, and it's okay if we go a few minutes over. For those of you who just joined in or joined in late, I had asked earlier in the reel, I'm thinking of adding, when we do Q&A days, of adding in a feature where I will ask someone if they're willing to come live on with me. And then if you say yes, I'm going to actually pull you into a live. So we can just talk and you can ask me your question. And so, I can do it with a couple people during each session. But so if you're interested in that, put yes in the comment section. You'd be open to that or would love to see that feature added. Again, I have to figure out the technology of that. So bear with me on that, but I'd love to do it. Okay, so Tiffany, you said she does it back to the touching everything. Again, I think with her, I'll tell you what I tell my grandchildren. If it's not yours, don't touch it. Okay, ask permission first. That's something you need to teach all children. But then I think I would redirect her away from things. So instead of mention anything about her touching things, I would redirect her away to something else, and then praise her for that kind of stuff. And then I have a suspicion that she's doing this for attention-seeking behavior. I could be wrong. But sometimes it's effective. Because she knows if she's touching something, you're going to respond or somebody's going to respond. And so if you ignore it and focus on what she's doing positively, you might see a little change in that behavior. Okay. If there's no other questions on here, let me just do one final check. And again, please feel free to join our Common Sense Parenting with Pam group. It is free. I'd love to have you in there. Okay, Linda, great idea. Yes. Okay. Oh, good. All right. Yeah, I would love to try the pulling people in. I think that would be fun. Because then I can, so you're putting questions in here and then I'm going, but I need more. I need more. Tell me more. Give me examples. So we'd have that opportunity to be able to do that if you were on the live with me. Okay. And it wouldn't be for the whole session. It would just be, for like 2 or 3 minutes. We talk. I start answering your questions. And then you could go back to just listening. I know some people are not cool about wanting to be on there. Okay. When we were little and used to visit grandma, she used to put all her knickknacks and stuff away. I did that with my younger kids. Instead of constantly having to tell them grandkids, no, 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 I just put it up or reach. It was easy that way. All right, everybody, I'm going to get off. And if I haven't answered any questions or you haven't put them up yet, or as I post this later this afternoon, if I come up with some other ideas, answers to some of these questions, I will go back in and put them in. So you can either find this on my Facebook page or go to PamelaPalanza.com, look under the parenting corner or parent corner and look for Facebook Lives. And these will go up this afternoon. Okay? All right. I'm glad you are with me. And I hope you have a good week. And until we meet again, remember, hug and love your babies.